is a different deal. Now, let me ask you a question, Drake. With NASCAR sanctioned, is there a set of NASCAR rules? Because that's something Joel and I were talking about. Is there their own rules packages coming with that?
They don't. They do have some packages that you can pick and choose from. They kind of have some stuff that, you know, if you were a brand new racetrack and you're going to be a NASCAR sanction and, you know, maybe you just built it out of the blue in the middle of nowhere and you needed a rule package to build a set of cars with. I mean, they have a rule package out there. But the beauty of this is that you can utilize your own rule package. So
very cool.
Does NASCAR mandate what our rules are? No. They go off of whatever we say our rules are going to be as far as car building rules and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yes and no.
So what is the rules package this year for Coos Bay with the late models?
Well, Coos Bay and the super late models, we basically tried to match everything in the valley. Just tried to get it as same as it could be for the most part everywhere. The only thing that was really any different here was always kind of the weight package, and it was just off by a couple 100 pounds. And it was what it was, and that's what it had been for 8-9 years or whatever it's been. But so really the only major changes that we did, and it wasn't even major, it was just kind of adapting to the I-5 corridors weight rule and spoiler rule, and just trying to make it to where a car can go from here to there or there to here without any major changes. And weight was the only real big thing off the top of my head that was the difference.
So and you're looking at
so
2,300?
Yep. I don't have them in front of me, and I don't have them memorized yet. But
okay.
Well, you've got a lot to do, bud.
I got a lot to do. Well, the good thing is I don't have to memorize the rules.
That's true. As long as they're on paper. Exactly.
You know what I mean? If somebody's got an issue, I break out a book and I go line by line, and that's how we deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But,
now here at Moxie,
I know more about my street stocks here than I ever want to know.
Yeah, no kidding. So here at Moxie, Drake, we get a lot of messages, when something like that gets released, and everybody kind of expects us to know everything, and again, that's impossible. I mean, you know how it is. You just said you don't have to memorize the rules, but so a lot of the questions we've received is about the NASCAR license. Now, the way I understand it is just the driver has to be NASCAR licensed, not pit crew members, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And that licensing fee is a one-time fee?
It's a yearly one-time fee, correct.
Okay. And how much is that?
Well, it depends on your division. So I guess we're talking super late models here.
Yes, sir.
Super late models is considered Division 1, and Division 1 has the majority of the perks. Every Division 1 through 4 all have perks, but Division 1 has the majority of the perks. Division 1 is $200 of a one-time fee for the driver only.
Okay.
That comes with a $1,050,000 insurance, participant accident insurance policy.
All right.
Okay, it gets you a price break at the back gate as well.
On the entry fee?
When you come on the entry fee.
Okay.
Yeah. So anybody that is a NASCAR member is going to get a price break at the back gate.
Very cool.
So, but with that, we're not going to mandate that the crew members have NASCAR license, if that makes sense.
When will
So basically our pit passes will be set up $30. Yeah, that's our base price. It's $30 if you're a non-member. And if you're a NASCAR member, it's $20 to get in the gate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, not bad. So other questions that are popping up are, what's the deadline for drivers to be registered for the...
We will register drivers, obviously, all year long. You can register at the racetrack on race day. I highly suggest we'd get it done early if it's possible to save the hassle on race day. But, we can definitely register race day itself,
Very cool.
For out-of-towners that aren't around that, don't have the paperwork in front of them to fill out. And I'm not 100% certain whether they can do it online or not. I haven't been approached with that, so I'm not 100% sure whether they can do it online or not.
Okay.
Or if they have to do it in person.
And
still a learning curve for me too.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're doing some big things down there. So the other question we're getting a lot is, what about a 2017 schedule?
The 2017 schedule should be released sometime next week. We got a car show coming. The only reason that the full schedule hasn't been released, I mean, I think I got April and May.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I got March and April, and that's where it stops. That's where I got it released on the web. The only reason a full schedule hasn't been released is I have a drag race date that's down in September that's kind of hindering whether it's going to go 1 week or another. And if that drag race date stays where it's at, then it's good. But if it has to move that other week, then it flips that circle track date. And so I don't want to release it because then I have to go fix it. And the way all our racers are is that they just take that schedule and, they not very many of them print out a new updated copy.
Right.
And I don't want to have a week totally, not a event, be like, oh, you got that old schedule that came out in February. So that's the only reason the whole thing hasn't been released.
Sure,
and,
understandable.
Well, on
we
behalf
got a car show, and at that car show this next weekend, that's when I plan to just have it available and put it up online and the whole nine.
Well, we will be having our car
So,
show.
I mean, at this point, it's looking like the late models have a total of, I think there was, and I'm shooting off the hip here, I want to say there was like 15 races.
Okay, it's a good schedule.
That is a good schedule.
Sure. All right. Well,
Right.
we're going to have our car show up here on March 25th and 26th in Albany at the Heritage Mall. If you wanted to come up and take a look around at what we're doing up here, I mean, it's kind of it'd be kind of cool to have you up here and
Absolutely.
come check things out. Joel, you have any questions for Drake?
Drake's obviously a well-prepared promoter. He knew what we were going to ask him.
He did.
And I'm sitting here, and you're looking at me going, I swear I didn't tell him what was going on. But, $200 license for the drivers. If you're a member, pit pass is $30 at Coos Bay this year. $20 if you are a NASCAR license holder.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great deal.
Well, if you look at that, if you look at the $200 you spend for the NASCAR license, and if you don't register for the NASCAR license, you got to pay $30 as opposed to the $20 over the 15 races. You're going to save.
Plus the insurance policy
Right.
you're talking about. I mean,
Right.
$1,050,000 in participant insurance.
That's
that's
good.
a pretty substantial insurance policy. So, Drake, I really commend you for what
Well,
you're doing.
my wife and I's, lives are, stakes are on the line here, and we want to make sure everybody's got the best insurance possible. We got to make sure that our lives and our kids are, covered and people aren't coming after us. So, the insurance was a real big thing for us. I mean, it really was. So, the insurance is a really, really big deal, and I know a lot of people look past that, but you look at some of the things that are happening in the racing world. I mean, you kind of think about even just the Clausen deal. Granted he passed away, but you don't think there was hospital bills involved in that?
Absolutely.
So, somebody got stuck with it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, wow, that's pretty awesome. So, you have got a lot on your plate. You got a lot going on. And really, the biggest thing having on the show tonight was because we're getting so many questions that Joel and I and Warren can't answer. We wanted to just put you on the air and put it out there and say, hey, this is what it is. And, that way it kind of settles a lot of the rumor mill and the stuff that's being talked about in the Northwest. And there's no other better,
Right.
no better
you guys
source.
Probably felt a little bit out of the loop. All of a sudden, that kind of came out of nowhere in that release, and you guys.
I'll tell you
what
what.
the heck's going on, huh?
Yeah, Joel and I were sitting here actually in the studio doing a couple things, and we got on Facebook and we saw that, and we looked at each other, and it was kind of like, uh-oh, get ready for the storm. And it wasn't but a couple minutes, and the phone lines were ringing and the text messages were coming in. We're like,
I'll tell you what,
wait a second.
when we saw it, I think I'm just glad we weren't on the air.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because
there was some words.
the FCC would be up our hind ends over that.
No
one.
kidding. But it was. We just kind of looked at each other like, wow.
And then of course people start calling us and texting us saying, Joel, Corey, what's going on? You guys are in the know, and we're like,
we know what you know, right?
We're gonna we'll talk to the big man and see what the big man says. And
well, and that's kind of and I called Drake during the week and said, hey, look, let's just get you on the air, and you can tell everybody what it is and what it isn't, and that way there's. If they want to go back and listen to what it is, they can go back to Moxie Media Promotions and listen to the show on Spreaker, and there's no rumors. I mean, it's just the facts.
Exactly. That's the fact,
Right.
Jack.
Well, I got an open phone line. Them drivers have been calling. I've been playing phone tag with a couple of them, and it definitely spawned some interest. Let's put it that way. I mean, that day that we released that, I probably had 4 or 5, people that physically called, and I probably had another 4 or 5 messages of people sending me messages and emails and whatnot. The NASCAR program is going to be cool. We're going to be the only NASCAR track in the state of Oregon, which means we get to reap the benefits of everything that they have to offer. And realistically, our late model champion is going to walk away with $6,000, and he's going to get to Charlotte and go, hobnob with the big boys, and he's going to go get his champion plaque, and I think they get a jacket and they get a commemorative helmet and whatnot, and I guess it's a really, really cool deal. My brother and my little nephew, he won the Division I championship over at Meridian Speedway on the pavement this last year, and he ended up got to go, and ultimately, I guess it was pretty much just like the party of their life. It was a really cool deal. So I mean, it's second to none, first class amenities. You watch it. Maybe they have, or maybe people have or haven't watched. The awards banquets on TV, but you're gonna have to get your tux out, and away we go. So I'm excited to do that in December. We'll all get to go down to Charlotte and kind of go hang out with everybody and go celebrate our people.
That's a pretty big deal, because that awards banquet there rivals like the Grammys, the Oscars.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a big deal.
You don't even see
right.
Excluding them handing the Super Bowl trophy over at the end of the game, or the World Series trophy at the end of the game. They don't have banquets like we do in racing.
Right.
And the NASCAR banquets, I mean, your name's up there in lights.
It's a pretty cool moment.
It's going to be a big, big spot in somebody's career.
So as we're talking, Drake, go ahead.
I was just going to say, down the road, this year probably only one person is going to take advantage of it, because obviously we're a new racetrack, so the person's going to win the championship. We're going to be the only track in the state, so our state champion and rookie of the year. So all 3 of those winners of the rookie of the year, the state champion, and the champion all get to go to Charlotte. So this year it's probably only going to be one person, but next year, I mean, all these drivers that are going to take advantage of it this year are not going to be rookies next year.
Right.
So that rookie of the year is only going to be available to first-time Division I holders, so there'll be $1,000 on the line for them, and that whoever is rookie of the year gets to go to Charlotte, and then ultimately. Technically, the state champion and the track champion could be 2 different people, but it just kind of depends on how things line out.
Sure.
So we really could take 3 different people with us over there. So
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and what happens there at Coos Bay Speedway.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you that our local guys are excited. Our local guys are behind it, and that's what I need. And Coos Bay's always had a tough time with late models. There's been a number of factors behind that, and I think we've got quite a few of them fixed. There's still a couple that I'm kind of people either just going to have to get over or deal with, and so I really feel like our locals, I think we can get that local base back in the 10-12 range, and then if it does, spawn to where some out-of-town people want to come play with us, then, I don't see any reason we're not going to be in the 15-18 car range. So I'm going to shoot small. I'm looking for, 12, and if we get 18, then, more power to it. So it's kind of where we're at on the late model side. Wow.
Well, you've got your hands full, and I know you're working hard down there. We want to wish you the best of luck. A lot of messages coming in here on the Swears Trucking chat line. A lot of people asking, are they doing any facility upgrades? Now, I think you did announce on your page that you are putting some new boards in the grandstands. Is that right?
Yeah, it's funny is I had to cut the guy short, and I bailed on him to come in and talk to you guys, but we've been out there for the past 3 hours, and laying down some boards. I mean, we're not replacing all the boards, but we're trying to find the crappiest, most splintered up